Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of Touched by a Horse. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, and I'm here with your host today, Kathy. Hello, Kathy.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Well, let's
just back.
Thank you. It's great to have you back. This is partly your show, so it's great to have you back for your show. Let's just get this out of the way. How do we say the first part of your hyphenated name there?
My name is Kathy Slachter O'Connor.
Slachter. What is Slachter? Is that German?
German, yep, and Dutch.
Okay. And Dutch, okay. Kathy Slachter. I like it. I've never seen that before, so I had to ask. I wanted to make sure everybody knew how to say that. Slachter. Perfect. Well, we're talking about, your specialty is in addiction recovery, yes?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And that was actually our last episode, right? Where you and I had a conversation around.
It was, yep, on the other side of addiction. So living on this side, what's it like?
Yeah, totally.
Where are you? And, how can we help?
Right. So we want to take that a step further today. I think you have a saying called my self-discovery journey. And and we can get into the second half of that, which is my self-discovery journey to where I think most people ultimately would say, I want to live a life of purpose or a life of passion.
I want to find joy.
Right. Joy. Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know what the feeling is inside of recovery or before recovery, but I would imagine there's just a lot of, I don't know. You tell me, what's it like before you get to the other side of that?
Yeah. Well, for me, joy came from a bottle before. If I was laughing, I was usually drunk or high or something. And joy now has to come from the inside of me. Has to come from my heart and what makes me happy. Where do I find my happiness? How do I find my happiness? And what is my journey to that? And, the fun part is discovering it. So that's where we kind of step in. The horses and I, we, hoof to hoof, feet to feet, walk together and discover your passion.
Is it, is that you call it a self-discovery journey? Is it really a journey, or is it pretty clear, pretty quick?
Oh no, I don't think any journey is quick. I don't, and anything, if we get to where we're going, then we're done. So, a journey is continuing on and it's every day. I listen to something, I watch something, I read something, I help another. I work on how I can become a better person, how I can constantly and never ending, work on who I am. And when you become stuck, when you become, on this journey, I used to always say that as I was getting sober, I felt like trees were falling down in front of me and people were throwing rocks and the windstorms were coming and all that because, I'd go way up there. I'd walk and love my walk and journey. And then all of a sudden something would bring me down and I'd go, oh, now what? Now what do I do? Where do I go? And, it's so important to know that you might be stuck again, but, your view is out there. We have to climb up. Otherwise we get stuck right back where we were. And that's in life for anything, not just addiction. It's depression and anxiety and sadness and PTSD, everything. We can get stuck in all these labels. And, discovering how to get out, if we look at it as a fun discovery, then, then we can enjoy it. But if it's like, oh, I just don't want, I don't care, I can't, that's where you're going to be. You're going to be stuck.
So what is the path out? How do we do that?
How do we do that?
You just read a book or how do we do that?
Yeah. The journey is personal. It's very, very personal. There's no one way for one person. How the horses step in, how I ask them what, and look at them and watch them, they can, they emotionally connect to your heart. And, so many times we have so many words and thoughts and feelings that go through our mind. And our minds can tell us that we're sick. Our minds can tell us that we're unhealthy. Our minds can tell us that, the sun's not shining, so I'm depressed today. Our minds can do all that. And the horses will not respond to you. They will not care about you at all. And, when your heart starts pumping and energy starts flowing, good energy, they're there for us. And, they bring it up too. They can suck out that bad energy, and they can get you to a point where, I'm comfortable right now. And when you're comfortable, the talking and the communicating and the visions begin. And, we become unstuck when we're in a round pen with a horse. And that's when the magic can happen. That's when a journey can begin. It's
Speak about the visions part. What do you mean by that? The visions begin.
The visions begin. So for me, when I was in my addiction, I did a lot of dreaming. I would come up with a lot of ideas. And I always stopped myself. Either the next day I'd feel like crap because I was hungover, or, I would talk to somebody else and they would say, this isn't you can't do that, or that's way too much work. Or I would tell myself it's way too much work. I can't do that. So what a vision does is we sit down together and we talk about all the possibilities that a new life, maybe go back to who were you, even as a teenager. What did you dream about? What was your passionate? Because we didn't have any, rules back then. We could be whoever we wanted to be when we were young, And, for me, I wanted to be a teacher. I talked myself out of it. And when I got older, I told myself that I couldn't read very well. I couldn't write very well. So how can I be a teacher? I hate school, because it stops me from having my fun. So I put all these rules in front of becoming a teacher. I'm not a teacher today, but in a way I am. I'm teaching people how to live a life that's full. That's what their journey, is inspiring inside of themselves to become. So a vision is out there. Maybe 5 years from now, if you can plant yourself in your life 5 years from now and say, what do I want to do? Do I want to wake up? And for me, I wanted to see horses. Maybe somebody else wants to be in Costa Rica, or traveling around the world and not having a home. Where I'm in the stage of retirement is a few years from now. So, what does retirement look like? For me, it's not sitting in front of a TV watching the news morning, noon, and night. And, I want to keep moving. I sat in front of a TV for years. I'm ready to move now, So what do I do? How do I get there?
I love that.
What makes me excited?
I was going to say, the part of the vision, it seems like the fingerprint of a vision that you're describing is it makes your heart sing. It gets you excited. It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Our teacher, Melissa Pierce, says, have your palms sweat and your heartbeat and have it out of control. And you go, oh, I don't know if I can do that. And that's when you know that that's your journey. That's your vision. That's the one you want. If you go, this sounds fun, that's that's a goal maybe, but it's not a vision. For me, a vision is that I have cabins on my property or around my property that people can go to and live in nature and be surrounded by the horses and animals, and we garden and have this organic, your fingers are in the mud and the dirt, and we have a healing area, a healing retreat that people can go to find their purpose, to find their own self-discovery, to discover who they are. That's a big one. Who am I?
Yeah.
I said that in my last thing is we don't know who we are when we're sober, because our best friend, our buddy was whatever drink or drug, or maybe it's even depression. You relied on depression. That's who you knew. That's who you were. And now all of a sudden you don't want to be there. Well, what's going to get you out of it? How can you live without it?
So walk me through this part, because I have this. I'll think of a vision. Visions, I don't want to say visions come easy for me, but I am a dreamer by nature. I'm what's wired for what would be amazing. And then I have the same thought that you described, where I'm like, oh, that would be a lot of work, or I don't know, my kids are in school right now. I don't know if I can really do that. There's all of these reasons
that
surface. How do we
We're supposed to take all those out of your
Yeah.
vision. So take out the fact that you financially can't do this. Take out the fact that you don't have the time for it. Take out the fact that, you know, so-and-so's not going to support me, or, you know, it's going to be too hard. I have to go back to school. I have to, you know, whatever the background that you're going to have to do, all the tools that you're going to have to use in order to get there. Take that out with your vision and start with that. Put an intention out there. Put your dream and make it and write it and live it and talk it and be in it. And, you know, I've heard someone say, talk to your vision even, you know, to make it. Talk about your vision to a lot of people, but only the safe people, because you don't want to talk to somebody that's going to say, you're getting older. I don't think that you should think about doing that. You know, I hear that with owning horses. Kathy, you're getting older. Why should you, you know, stop doing this? And I'm like, no, this is what gives me fun. I love it. I go out there and I smile. I just had 2 horses go to 2 different farms. I'm in Michigan, and they went to Colorado and Montana, and you know, that made me, one's going to be a healer and the other one's going to be maybe a breeder or fun horse, partnering horse. You know, that gave me joy to watch them roll out and know that they're going to a great home. You know, there's got to find what makes us happy, what fills us with joy.
I do like the idea of, I almost feel like playing with it, you know, like there's a vision and you just play with it, like reorganize it, move things around, color it, talk to it, whatever it is, you know.
Craft project. I've heard that before too. Make it a craft project, because, you know, and many times when people have craft projects, they leave them because things get in the way, you know, or you get too busy, or you get frustrated with it because you know, it's not going together like you thought it would, or something like that. So, you know, it's something that you have to continually work on. If it takes you 10 years to get to your vision, but yet it's still in your heart, you know, you have something to look forward to.
Right.
You have to wait. You wake up in the morning and, you know, you have this dream of, you know, where do I want to go? And there's so many people that wake up in the morning and it's another day. That's it. This is just another day. I have to go to work. I have to do this. But if you go to work and know that someday I'm going to own a farm by myself, you know, I'll use me. I'm going to own a farm by myself. Going to work might be a little easier. And as you go to work, maybe you come home and you read about what it takes to own a horse. How do you take care of a horse? You know, I went through a program that was Equine Studies 101. I wanted to know, how do I take care of a horse properly? You know, what is all combined? What is hay? You know, what is bits and pieces of that? So, you know, and I read about them. I went out of my way on my journey to own a horse breeding farm. You know, at that time, I didn't even know that's what I wanted. But as I was working it, it just kind of flowed right into my path. And I was like, yay, I like this idea.
I love it. I'm so inspired right now listening to you. I'm just like, as you're speaking, I'm having all these great feels over here about, you know, the vision and playing with it.
What's your vision? What's your biggest thing? If you're going to create something.
You put me on the spot now, Kathy. I'm the interviewer here, Kathy.
Well, that's what I do. I'm a coach, so I help you. What's your dream?
I love it. Yes. Well, like I said, I have a lot, you know, I think, this agency was part of that. Like, if I think I've lived inside of my work for a long time, and my identity has been a lot of ways wrapped up in my work. You know, I think in some ways there's part of me that wants to create a vision outside of that. Like, who else would I be outside of my work? Yeah.
We aren't our job.
Yeah.
You know, your heart's in your job. Your heart is in your job, but you know, that's not your life. When you're at the end of your life, you're proud and grateful for the things that you've done in your job, but you want something more, you know, you want something behind us.
Yeah. I feel like my people probably live in Southern California. I feel like I'm supposed to live there sometime, right? Like that would be one of those visions of like, I want to live down there by the ocean, you know. The ocean.
What would you do with the ocean right next to you? You know, what would you?
My wife and I love the ocean. We walk on the beach. We just sit there and sit on the deck and look at it, you know?
Yep. and walk in it, and it gives you
Yeah.
peace. It gives you
Yeah.
serenity. What's your top values in your life? Mine is acceptance. That's one of them.
Mm.
I also giving to others is another. Peace, serenity, those are my values. And if I'm not living in my values, then, my life is not full. And if I'm not full, then, we need to come to the barn to figure out what we need to put aside, what we need to put, away, and what comes up, what's foremost and in the most important in your life. And, the horses will tell us. If you don't know, the horses will let us know what they are.
I love the way you said that. Like, it's time to come to the barn. Like there are moments where, there's ongoing moments even where it's like time to come to the barn. I love that.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people could think of this as like a one-time thing but I think there are moments where the help from.
Yeah. You get stuck in your vision. You get stuck in, you don't even realize that you're stuck.
Right.
And you just know that something isn't happening in your life. You lost your joy again, or, whatever it is, you come back to the barn and I say, hear what our horses have to neigh. So listen to the horses neigh. What do they have to say to us, so that we can, listen to ourselves, to sit quietly sometimes, even with a horse, and find, you start to listen to what's going on in your body. That was huge for me, is what is my body telling me? And then from there, if I'm stressed and tired all the time, then what's stopping me? What's keeping me stressed and tired? What do I need to let go? What do I need to put aside? What can I put back in my basket for another time, or bring it out what can I bring out? What tool can I bring out? And it's just, there's not one way to say, this is what happens when you come to the barn. This is what happens when you start a vision. The only thing I can say that the same thing should happen is you should perk up. You should. Yeah. That's it. Like I said, this makes me nervous thinking about it. Then that's your vision. Let's work on it. Let's see.
I love that. It's so nice to have somebody to champion those visions that you have. Because like you said, there can be, I heard it years ago called dream bullies. There are dream bullies who are like, oh, you shouldn't do that. Why would you? But to have somebody champion your vision, right? Yep. And ask you questions like you just did of me. That was great. Thank you for coaching me. I got some free coaching out of this call.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Of course.
It's really good. It's really good.
Work vision. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Well, this is really good. I love this. This feels like important work to me. There are people who are coming to a place in life where they're looking for what's next. And I love this idea of a self-discovery journey that leads them to a passionate life and what's next for them, their vision, So if people want to reach out to you,
yes,
they want to do this kind of work, like they're ready to come to the barn.
Come to the barn.
How do
I've
they
said
reach you?
before that we can start out on phone conversations. So contact me at www.oneneightatatime.org or Kathy at oneneightatatime.org, and Kathy with a K. And contact me anyway that there's ways on my website. Email or call, whatever. Sure. But let's talk. Let's see where we can be of assistance to you. Where if coming to the barn is the first step that we can do, awesome. Let's figure out how we can get you here. Let's figure out where you can stay. Let's figure out, the most important thing is to get healthy, so we'll figure it out together. That's what a coach should do, is we help you become aware of what you need to do. And, the horses help you become aware of what your body's telling you need to do too, so come to the barn. Let's, make yourself a priority. I say that a lot. Make yourself a priority first in your life, because if you are not happy, if you don't have joy and a passion and a direction in your life, the people underneath you, whether it's your kids or your family or whatever, they have nothing to follow. So be that light that your kids and family can follow. And shining is fun. Being dim is easy, maybe. Shining takes a little work, just like being kind takes some work. And, positivity takes work. Negativity can fall in there quickly, but, it's time to work on yourself. Please, call us.
I love it. Let's do it. Awesome. Kathy, thank you so much for sharing today. I loved it. I hope we could do it again. Until then.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it very much. Bye.